Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go. I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in A-Town. So why you tipping in your lab or your Chevy?
Yo, happy Tuesday. It's 7 o'clock in the 8, y'all, and it's time to vent. We're your hosts, Gentre Williams, Darian Valsh. A lot of great news coming out of the sports world. Super Bowl in 2 weeks, but just announced officially Tom Brady has retired after 22 NFL seasons. Darian, how you doing, brother? Tom Brady finally hanging it up, man. He's been playing football since he was in the NFL since we was like little, like 10, 11 years old.
I believe 4th or 5th grade. Elementary. One of the things. Yeah, I mean, it's a big story. I mean, Tom Brady, one of the more iconic athletes of our generation. 22 years is a damn long time, most, especially in football terms. Even as a quarterback,
that's crazy.
That's a long time. That's an incredibly long time. He's had incredible staying power. Even up to this year, was leading in touchdown. He probably had as good a year as he's ever had in his career.
Right.
So he's definitely leaving still with a lot left in the tank. But according to the Instagram post that I read, that is posted right now on our Max Sports TV Twitter page.
Be sure to follow.
Yes, sir. He basically said his competitive juices, they weren't flowing. It was about, he's always stayed committed to being 100% competitive, and he felt like he couldn't come into next year with that competitive drive. So because of that, he had to walk away. So that's pretty much what we left.
I mean, it's so hard to stay, motivated if, once you got 7 Super Bowls, all these records, wins, completions, playoff wins, playoff touchdowns, passer rating, again, number 1 in passing yards. He's done so much for the game of football. Just Darren, take me back, man. We grew up watching football. What was some of your most memorable Tom Brady moments just watching throughout his career?
You already know what I'm going to say. I mean, obviously there's, playing for 22 years in the Hall of Fame, first ballot quarterback, and arguably, not really arguably, I think most people would say greatest. You're going to have a lot of moments. You're going to have a lot of iconic moments in history, whether that's regular season, in terms of the 16-0 17. Which
him and Randy went crazy that year.
Exactly, when they broke all those records.
Man.
It was absolutely and it kind of made, people think, wow, if Tom Brady got to Randy Moss early, or if Randy Moss, knowing the amazing player he was, if he had a Tom Brady early in his career, all through his prime, how great they would have been and how many records they would have had. That
probably played a big part of him moving to Tampa. Just that 1 year with a great. I mean, he had Wes Welker and a lot of these good slot guys, and Gronk, as a tight end guy. But just having a true dominant number 1 receiver, he was probably looking at Tampa Bay with Mike Evans. He's like, I can go crazy out there.
Yeah, because it's been a while since he had that. It's all respect to Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and those guys, and Gronk to a certain extent, but he never had that outside top wide receiver.
They could take a top off the defense.
Yeah, exactly. Until he got to Randy Moss, in those years he had Randy Moss. So you got to think about those moments, obviously. And then you talked about it. We talked about the early years.
Yeah.
He came in for Drew Bledsoe, as Drew Bledsoe got knocked out of the game against the Jets by Mr. Mo Lewis. And the first playoff run where they had the infamous tuck rule against the Raiders.
Changed the entire game, brought in replay, everything.
Absolutely. And but me personally, as I said, my favorite Tom Brady moment is Super Bowl 51 against the Atlanta Falcons when they blew the 28-3 lead.
You go dig up that grave for me.
Why not, man? I mean, hey, listen. This is the perfect time for me to bring that up because, as you know, I'm not an Atlanta Falcons fan or enthusiast at being a Saints fan. So, obviously, seeing them absolutely get all the way to the highest of highs when they swore that they was getting ready to have that Super Bowl parade out on Peachtree, and then just absolutely just collapsing at probably the biggest sports collapse. In one side you say it's the biggest comeback in sports, one of the great clutch performances in sports. But who the hell blows a 28-3 lead? Come on now, in the Super Bowl. And it shouldn't be a shock to me because
wow.
And I'm not gonna make this about the Falcons, even though I want to. I should. just do a podcast where I just clown the Falcons for all their playoff failures. But you know, he had that moment. I mean, it was just kind of telling that you know, in terms of how clutch that he's, you know, his reputation as a clutch player. Now, let's also be mindful.
Right.
You know, you don't just win 7 Super Bowls on your own. I don't care how great you are.
Exactly.
Because we've had plenty of greats in this game.
Yes.
The Dan Marinos, the John Elways, Brett Favre's. Those guys who have won maybe one Super Bowl didn't win.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Peyton Manning, same era.
Drew Brees. You know, so there's been a lot of great quarterbacks, and for some whatever reason or not, they don't get to 2 Super Bowls or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So when you're talking about Tom Brady, obviously you can acknowledge his greatness,
right?
Because he doesn't get to that point. But let's not be, you know, let's not just absolutely just gloss over the fact that he had some amazing teammates.
Right.
He had arguably the greatest coach of all time in Bill Belichick.
It was a perfect marriage.
Exactly. Who was a great defensive mind. Who had some, not necessarily, just like on the offensive side of the ball of those Patriots teams, they didn't have a whole litany of big-time superstar names.
Right.
But they played great cohesively as an offense. Defensively was the same thing.
Man,
because they had really good but not all-time great, like a Willie McGinnis, a Ty Law, all those guys, Teddy Bruschi. Great players who played within the system and were so great cohesively, and that's what made those Patriots teams great championship teams.
Even looking at the Tampa Bay Bucks team that won the Super Bowl last
Exactly.
year, in my opinion, that's probably one of the greatest teams I've ever seen. I know they don't get credit for it because if you just look at all the all-pro talent that they have, from probably the best receiving core that year with Gronk, with that defense, the best linebackers in that pass rush, that was a really, really good Buccaneers team.
Well, yeah.
They won the Super Bowl, of course,
yeah,
but
they went on to win the Super Bowl there. I agree that when you look at in terms of talent,
right?
In terms of Super Bowl teams, they're probably one of the more talented teams. And you know, Brady brought that championship winning culture because when he signed with Tampa Bay,
right?
You know, it was a game changer.
Changed everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because you brought in a lot of great talent. You also had galvanized the talent that was there,
right?
And they played well. They kind of sputtered in the beginning of that season, 2020, but then they got hot at the right time. You know, they caught a couple of breaks in the playoff games. I'm not going to get on Jared Cook's fumble.
Oh man, that was.
But yeah, when we were up like 10 points on them, I didn't, you know, because I'm not going to knock them because at the end of the day, the Saints should have took care of business.
Right.
But you know, they won. They went on, took care of business out in Green Bay, out in Lambeau. So that was an amazing run. I mean, you know, just being from a objective standpoint,
right.
It was definitely one of the great runs that kind of further solidified Tom Brady as one of the greats of this game because, you know, being in his mid-40s, most quarterbacks don't even make it to their 40s.
Right.
I've seen a very few who've made it past the age of 40. You know, most of them are done by 38, 37, 36. So we can talk about Tom Brady all day because, you know, in terms of, you know, your iconic athletes, your cornerstone cultural icons in sport, Tom Brady is right there.
Definitely right there. And with him retiring, it just kind of feels like the end of an era, does it? We got Ben Roethlisberger that just retired, right. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning left a few years back. It just feels like that quarterback that me and you kind of grew up watching, those great quarterbacks, you know, they're done. Now it's this whole new era of quarterbacks. We're going to get to the quarterbacks playing in the Super Bowl coming up here very shortly. But right. Shout out to Tom Brady, great 22 years, was a 6th-round pick. Mm-hmm. It's not like Tom Brady came in here, one of the high prospects. He, you know, 6th-round pick, got it done, had a great career. Happy for Tom Brady, man. So happy for him. And, you know, with him doing, you know, retiring, you know, it's an historical day. It's probably, you know, one of them days that everybody's always going to remember.
Right.
And that leads to our historical event, Darian. Last week, the week before last, I struggled, man. You got me again. I can't even remember who freaking Muhammad Ali fought.
Yeah, you really disappointed me. I'm going to be honest. I was slightly disturbed. But, yes, we got another historical event, and I'm glad you brought it up because we were talking about Tom Brady, and it involves Tom Brady. Because
wow.
on this day in 2015, it was the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Pretty memorable Super Bowl. Patriots versus Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
The infamous, you know,
should have ran
the ball.
Yeah,
but decided, you know, get a little cute. Mr. Pete Carroll decided to get a little cute. Wanted Russell to get that little touchdown pass.
We'll talk about another team getting a little too cute in the end zone later.
Well, we'll get to that. But everybody remembers that. The Malcolm Butler interception.
Right.
And if you remember, that was the Seahawks. That was their second straight trip to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And had they won that game, they would have been the first team that began play after the 1970 AFL-NFL merger to have 2 Super Bowls.
Wow, great journalism. That
would have made them the first team after the 1970 that began play after the 1970. So a team that inaugural season was in the past 1970. They did not do it. However, who has? So who is the first team that began play after the 1970 merger that has won 2 Super Bowls?
I just got to, eliminate the teams. Okay, I think I get this one.
Okay, this should be easy because
this is easy. This one's easy.
This one's easy. I finally gave you something.
Yeah, this one.
Have you gotten one yet? I believe you had.
I got the Auburn kick return. What's the kid name?
You sure you got it? Because you can't remember.
I remember his last name.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember. But who is currently the first team that began?
Oh, it's the first team.
Yeah, they became the first team to win.
So there's not multiple teams that done it?
No, it's only one. Only one team has done it. I'm not gonna give you multiple teams. I know your brain's already fried the first one. But who is the very first team that has won multiple Super Bowls, meaning more than one, obviously, since their inaugural season after the 1970 merger? So it's not the Cowboys.
No, it's not the Cowboys. It's
a team that began play after 1970.
It's in the East Coast. I have an idea. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that a little later. We'll see how sharp you are, sir.
And a team that was looking sharp on this AFC Championship, the Cincinnati Bengals finally knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. I had a brain fart there.
You're excited, man.
Hey, I was so happy, man. The Bengals come back and won. That first half, I ain't gonna lie, I almost turned my TV off. Man, Tyreek Hill was going crazy. They couldn't cover Travis Kelce going up the middle. It was getting frustrating. Every third down, they're going to Travis Kelce in the seam. Somebody play a cover 2 flat or something like that. Don't allow him to get up the seam. It's simple. Or play a mid zone. It was irking my nerves. But the Bengals did finally make a comeback and win. Joe Burrow, 23 of 38, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran for 25 yards. One of those runs was one of the best runs I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
He got out the hands of Chris Jones. Joe Burrow is just a special talent. Darian, you seen the game, man. Just one of your takeaways from the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, going to the Super Bowl.
Well, let me just preface this by saying I did watch the highlights afterward. Now, like you watched the game.
Right.
However, once it got up to about 21 to 10, I took a nap. So I woke up and I was like, damn, Bengals are AFC champions. But like you were saying, the beginning of the game, it almost looked like a mismatch because it seemed like Kansas City's offense was
too fast.
I tweeted, I was like, they're going through Cincinnati's defense like a hot knife through butter. I mean, it just seemed effortless. It seemed like almost a scrimmage like.
Yeah.
But credit to Cincinnati's defense. They once they got the adjustments going, they were able to slow down Kansas City, especially that second half. I mean, it was just an absolute stalwart. It was a masterclass by Cincinnati's defense on there.
And but Bill O'Brien again messed up by letting DJ Reader go. He was a big reason why the Bengals was able to shut down that Chiefs offense.
Well, just like I talked about how we could have a whole episode of me slandering the Falcons, do the same thing for Bill O'Brien. So, I mean, there's no difference there. So you keep on talking about mistakes. Good news is he just might be in y'all division again because he's supposed to be one of the candidates for the Jaguars job. So good luck with that.
Hey, the Jaguars give him congratulations. Thank you.
But I mean, credit to Cincinnati's defense. They made the necessary adjustments. They got the key plays, got the key stops. Mahomes had, I think, a very bad fourth. I mean, he just was making some very, I don't want to say uncharacteristic because Patrick Mahomes is that type of player. Like he's just sometimes it's fight or flight, but he's so talented that he almost covers up those mistakes that most normal quarterbacks would make.
People forget he wasn't the number 1 pick coming out of college for a reason. The main reason he wasn't that number 1 pick was because his mechanics were so sloppy at Texas A&M. And, him getting Andy Reid had a big part of his maturation as a quarterback. And Andy Reid, he made Michael Vick look like an MVP candidate back in, 2010 when he came back. So Andy Reid can really mask a lot of those weaknesses, but it reared its ugly head there in the AFC Championship.
Yeah. And credit to Cincinnati. They took advantage, and they put themselves in a position where he had to make those mistakes because it was still close.
Right.
It was not, it easily could have looked after that first quarter like Cincinnati was going to go and just get absolutely railroaded. But credit to them, man. They made the necessary adjustments. That's why they're in the Super Bowl now. Joe, I mean, we could talk about Joe all day. He, not only did the defense play up to par, but Joe made the necessary plays. Joe,
man,
I mean, he's
a different cat, man.
Exactly. I mean, I talked about him so much on the show. Now you just about him on the train that I was.
Man,
but when you have a quarterback like that, when they made that decision to draft him number 1, this is what you look for. This is a franchise guy that can go anywhere, at any place, any atmosphere.
Doesn't matter.
For victory. And I knew that because, to me, looking at Joe, like even when they were playing the Tennessee Titans, getting knocked down and getting hit 9 sacks. And I was watching the game at my mom's house, and I was telling her because she was, talking about how he was getting hit. And I said, listen, if there's anybody who can take shots and get back up and still win a game, it's Joe Burrow, because I seen him do that when he played Alabama. Man. Exactly. That resiliency, that clutch gene, that whole – I hate using clutch gene. I'm sorry. I don't want to take – I gotta
don't give Skip Bayless credit.
Yeah, I got to get that out. That's got to get out of my vocabulary. But, I mean, that his ability to rise to the occasion, that translated so well from his time at LSU. And, I mean, just seeing it, it's almost like he hasn't missed a step from college to the pros.
No.
So, I mean, you can talk all day about it, but Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati defense and Jamar Chase and all those guys, I mean, they've came in with little to no experience. I mean, still this was Joe Burrow's first full season.
Yeah, he got injured. He got injured, and this is the Bengals' 3rd Super Bowl. Like last time they made a Super Bowl was back in 1988. I wasn't even born yet.
John Taylor Super Bowl
against the 49ers.
Against the 49ers when John Taylor caught the game-winning pass from Joe Montana when he had the game-winning drive.
The 49ers beat them twice.
Probably, 81 and 88.
Right.
That was the only 2 times they went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the 49ers.
At least it's the Rams, so maybe things are looking up for the Bengals. It's not the 49ers this time.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, shoot, the way it's not like they had Joe Montana behind San Francisco. It's not like they were playing that caliber of player.
That is true. And after the game, yesterday I actually had the opportunity to talk to Trey. Right. And Trey, he's my brother. He plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's just been so excited. I'm so happy for him, proud of him. He's going to the Super Bowl. It's just crazy, still surreal. Can't believe it. But one thing he told me, he said, Trey, our first practice when playoffs started, I knew something was special about this team. Mm-hmm. He said it was just something different. Mm-hmm. He said, from Joe Burrow to the defense to the camaraderie. He said when he first got to Cincinnati was kind of a tough place to be. But, Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, they've turned it completely around. Everybody in that locker room loves each other. Everyone in that locker room hangs out with each other after the game and before the game. Like, these guys genuinely have love for each other, and it's like a brotherhood.
Well, yeah, and I think, talk about his point as opposed to when he first got there. So I'll keep in mind that Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback. So, Katie's own. But, I mean, it's night and day almost. But, that's why it's so important to hit on a franchise QB because when you have someone that can bring that leadership in at the most important position in the game. Right. I love football. I love my favorite position is running back. That's my position. But the quarterback is so key and paramount to the face because that's the face of your franchise essentially. Right. So when you bring a guy in who has tremendous leadership, who has tremendous intangibles, tremendous character, right, it just reverberates through the rest of your franchise. And when you win, it really shines through. So I mean, it's no shot because we talked about Joe, we talked about Jamar and the talent that they've possessed, and not just the talent they possess, but the character that they have. They came to win. And they came ready to win now, and they're mature, and it's absolutely blended in perfect with this Cincinnati team. And we're seeing the results of it now. Definitely. And,
it's to go into Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes' house. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes going crazy in the first quarter. Right. And Trey said it was so loud. The crowd going crazy. You're down 21-3. I want to get to the red zone play where Patrick Mahomes, they ran like a little RPO read, tried to hit Tyreek Hill over in the flat, but you only have 5 seconds to go. Andy Reid has been known in big games to get too cute, and I think that cost him. It's been well documented. The Bengals went into the locker room with a totally different mindset. Like, they let us off the hook. They kept us in the game, and that is not the team the Bengals are showing that's not the team you want to let just hang around.
No, absolutely not. And I agree with you because I've heard that point about Andy Reid too. I said that part about Sean Payton.
Right.
I don't know if people remember the 2018 NFC Championship game. Obviously, everybody remembers that because But a lot of people don't. I mean, what people fail to mention, me as a fan, I know that because I've seen it.
Right.
But Sean Payton got too cute because we got a couple of plays before the infamous play. We got a big passing reception to Ted Ginn that got us into field goal range.
Okay.
I believe it was like in our own territory.
Right, I remember.
I felt that should have been the play. That should have been Drew's last attempt. That should have been it because then you run the clock. You had two all-pro running backs, Alvin Kamara and
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram. Run the clock out, get their yardage, force the Rams to use their timeouts, then kick the game-winning field goal. You're on your way to Atlanta in the Super Bowl. But he got too cute because we went first down and we tried to do a running play and Drew throws it right dead into the damn dirt. That was the play that got us into that situation because at that point we stopped the clock. Then we had to go for a pass.
I forgot all about that one.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Exactly. So sometimes it happens with coaches like that. Sometimes they're a little too smart for their own good.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened for that way for Andy Reid, and they paid for it dearly. But even then, granted, momentum is important. But I think that the Bengals had made so many adjustments,
exactly
in the third and fourth. Yeah, that I think that I'm not saying it wouldn't have mattered,
right?
But they still had to play the rest of that second half. They still
That's
had
true.
to play the rest of that game, and they did what they had to do. So, yeah, you got to tip your hat to them.
And, we're going to get to the Rams and 49ers here just shortly, but just to, keeping it in the AFC, there was so much talk after the Mahomes and Josh Allen game that it's going to be the Bills and Chiefs. That's the next Peyton Manning and Brady.
Right.
I got news for y'all, folks. This might be like a 5, 6, 7 quarterback deep conference. You got the Bengals, they're going to be around with Joe Burrow. Like I said, Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's not going anywhere.
Right.
Who knows? If Deshaun Watson, let's hope everything gets washed over with that. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 pick, Justin Herbert, all these great, young, talented quarterbacks. I'm not even talking about the NFC. It's going to be a dogfight in the AFC for the years to come.
I agree, man. And you talked about, talking about Tom Brady's retirement.
Right.
And then just the retirement of a whole generation of quarterbacks, great
Right.
quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning a couple of years ago, Drew Brees last year. This year,
Yeah.
we lost. Well, last year, Drew and Phillip Rivers, and then Eli and Ben Roethlisberger. So we've definitely seen the changing of the guard, and that's the beautiful thing about sport.
Right.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Right.
One star leaves, the next star takes its place, and,
Right.
and it just happens organically. So I'm excited about it, and that's why we love the game. That's why we love watching sports because see who's the next up.
Right.
And you love it because the previous generation always creates an influence towards the next generation.
Exactly. I want to, because I might be premature on this, but I feel like the Brady, from Jordan to Kobe is the same as Brady to Burrow. I might be premature to that.
Oh, wow.
But it's just something about Burrow, man. He has that. He just has it. He reminds me a lot of Brady, the way Kobe reminded everyone a lot of MJ, and he's just coming in and he's taking over, taking names.
Well, I don't want to put no 7 Super Bowls on Joe Burrow, but you know what? As I said before, I don't think there's anything that dude can't do as a QB.
That's right.
I don't think there's nothing he can't do. I mean, we've seen things in this 2-year period, or like I said, his first full season, that no quarterback has ever done.
No.
So
special, man.
Exactly. So he's a special talent. So I can't put nothing past Joe Burrow because he's proven everything about him and validated himself so much already in this quick time. So I'm not gonna say that. I'll wait a little while.
Yeah, I know I might be ahead of the curve.
Put that on. Yeah, because and then you also have to put in the fact of the injury thing.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah,
and
that's true.
I'm glad that the Bengals got Jamar Chase, and him and Joe are going to be an incredible duo for years.
All that talk, they should have took Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell's in Detroit, and Detroit's still Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. But they still have to address that offensive line
right guard
because
no disrespect, but
the right. Yeah, I mean you take your turns on him. You pick your poison with that. But the right guard was absolutely horrible. I thought I could go out there and get a couple of pancakes myself. But I'm just being. I'm sorry, but. Yeah, that's one thing that they're going to have to address because you want to keep him upright. That's your franchise. That's the guy that's going to lead you for the next decade and a half or maybe 2 decades like a Brady did.
They go have to game plan for Donald, man. That's going to be
that's another thing. I don't know how
I'm worried about
Donald and
Vaughn and Ashawn. All of them nice, man.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an amazing matchup. I mean, hey, we thought that the Titans defense, they did pretty well.
Right.
They just couldn't finish it off because they had Ryan Tannehill playing quarterback. So, we didn't get a chance to I told you about him. Well, I mean, that just, validated.
That validated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans were an amazing team, but when it came down to it, that game manager, that guy, when you needed him to win the game for you, what happened?
I think this Super Bowl run, we're about to get to the Rams, but this Super Bowl run for each team, you got to get the quarterback right.
Right.
Because the Rams, they had Jared Goff and they had a plethora of talent, but now they got Matthew Stafford, who's a pretty decent upgrade.
Better, yes.
And now they're in the Super Bowl. You got to get the quarterback right if you want to have true Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're a team that's right there.
Right.
You look at teams like the Titans or like the 49ers. Hey, if they had a top tier quarterback, where would they be? They'd probably be right now. We'd be talking about them preview between them in the Super Bowl. So, you can get there. You can get to the postseason. But when you have those close games, when it gets to, those the times when you need the QB to make a play.
Because sometimes everything's going to be covered. As we've seen in the Bengals game, everything for Joe Burrow downfield, they double bracketing Jamar Chase. They locking up Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Pass rushers coming his way. He just had to make a play. He picked up the first down, kept the drive alive. That's something you just can't teach. They got to either have it or they don't.
That's when the superior talent takes over.
Right.
I mean, you can do X's and O's. That's you just talked about with Jared Goff.
Right.
Jared Goff was a very talented guy when he had
he's good.
X's and O's. But when it came down to winning time, when you needed your talent to take over, when you needed a superior guy from behind center to say, I'm going to make this play come hell or high water. That's the issue they ran into, and that's why they traded him off. And that's why now they're in the Super Bowl, because I felt like Matthew Stafford, and I said this before the season started.
Yep, that was your Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was my Super Bowl pick. I felt that Matthew Stafford, despite the fact that he was in a Detroit team that never really won much, the talent was there.
Right.
He was putting up big numbers. He had a 5,000-yard season. So you just needed to surround him with talent and the coaching for him to succeed at the best. And we're seeing it now. He's been on the tear this playoffs.
Been on the tear. And we're going to talk about that Rams versus 49er game as the Rams knock off the San Francisco 49ers 20-17. Right. Matthew Stafford, man, he balled out 31-45, 337 yards, 2 touches. Cooper Kupp and Odell. That tandem, it's like they're the perfect fit.
Right.
Because Cooper Kupp, he takes away all the underneath. He keeps some linebackers up because, he's going to read and get to the open spot. And Odell, he's going to take the top off of you.
Right.
So it's just a perfect matchup. And Matthew Stafford, he can make all the throws to get it there. But the 49ers, to me, dropped the ball on this. This is just my opinion.
Literally, yeah. They dropped the ball. Tartar missed it.
What's the Tartar Ward? And Ward had that helmet-to-helmet play. That was a stupid play. You shouldn't just ease up, man. But, like, you still got going
relax,
down, man.
Okay?
Like, don't. That's
don't cross the team, man. Don't embarrass yourself. Embarrassing your family. But good.
Like this is gonna sound weird, but you remember how they traded 3 first-round picks for that youngster Trey Lance, and he just wasn't ready.
Right.
This was a Super Bowl ready team. I know you're trying to get ready for the future.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson with this roster, you're in the Super Bowl. And you might be in the Super Bowl for years to come because you've seen Tom Brady and athletes playing a lot longer.
Right.
But you had I could be wrong in this from 5 years. Trey Lance could be an MVP. Who knows? But I feel like right now with San Francisco, your time is now. And going young, I get it, but I think they missed the boat on this on draft night. They didn't lose this game this past week. They lost it on draft night.
Well, I mean, the argument could be made. I just think that I feel like the 49ers had their sights set on Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But for what the Packers just weren't going to play. They want to send you to a interconference rival.
Right.
So but they put their future into Trey Lance. They felt like he had amazing natural talent and ability, and he has that sort of skill set that
he's nice.
Because he has that sort of skill set that we talked about that's kind of prevalent in the NFL with some of the best young quarterbacks right now. So I see where they were going with that. But once again, I mean, and I'd say this about Tannehill. Jimmy G, and we talked about this every time we brought up the 49ers and their chances. When it came down to it, when you need them to make a play, when you need them to come out and, get us what we need,
they got a good team.
Drive offense. Yeah, galvanize the offense so that we can get to the promised land. Can you do it? And the question has always been with him, and it's been no. And once again, He failed again, and it cost them another year where they had so many different pieces. Not just on defense. We talk about defense, but offensively they still had. You got Kittle, you got Kyle Juszczyk, you got Deebo Samuel that absolutely do it.
Man, that dude
who had a great game, by the way.
Yeah, he was doing it all.
But I mean, sometimes when you put your eggs in that basket, and everybody, I don't need anybody talking to me about his damn winning record. Come on, man. You know what your eyes are watching.
Man,
you know that they won those games in spite of him rather than because of him.
Right.
He played just as worse as Aaron Rodgers did in that game in Green Bay, but it just so happens that the other aspects of the team played a lot better, particularly the special team. They got that touchdown, and then the defense. But people that goes on about QB wins or he just knows how to win games, cut the crap, man. I'm not trying to hear that. You know what a good quarterback is, and you know what a bad quarterback is. I just don't like when people try to play dense. Nobody's trying to denigrate him or discredit him. We know what our eyes are seeing.
Yeah.
What we are seeing was a guy who was somewhat of a liability, and that's why his replacement was sitting behind him.
Right.
He's probably going to replace him come next year. He's going to be on somebody else's team.
Yeah, Jimmy G, you can make a strong argument. He's cost I don't want to, injuries happen. That's unfortunate, but for the past 3 years, he's been the reason the 49ers are not in the Super Bowl.
I mean, he
or didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's not the reason they are.
Exactly, because everything else is there. They got a top-tier offensive line. They got a top-tier pass rush. Ayuk, that dude's a baller, man. I like Ayuk a lot.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, he can catch out the backfield. He can run out the backfield. You got all this talent. One of the best defense in the league, the best coach in the NFL. I think he's a better coach right now in today's era than Bill Belichick, Kyle Shanahan. I know he doesn't. I love that scheme. That scheme.
It's a good scheme, but that. Now, granted, this might be because you got a Jimmy G at quarterback.
Right.
But that's it. That was his decision, too.
Right. You're right.
He's had some issues with, holding on to leads now. They had 17-7. They had that lead. And then, once again, I don't want to keep bringing up the Atlanta Super Bowl, but he was the offensive coordinator. And then you had that 2010 fourth-quarter lead in that Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Chiefs. So, he still has some things he's got to answer as well. Yeah.
Good counterpoint.
I like Kyle, but I love Kyle Shanahan, too.
Right.
I think he's a great coach. But he's got some questions he got to get answered, too. But,
that's a good point.
Get in a top-tier quarterback. Get in a capable quarterback.
Right.
Because they're going to have to, just like you talked about, they missed on Russell Wilson. They couldn't get Aaron Rodgers. That's why it's so important, because you mortgage your future to Trey Lance. This is the time now. You got to hope that he has the talent, because if not, then it's really going to blow up in their face.
You don't have no first-round picks. How are you going to help? Trent Williams is about 33, 34. You're going to need to secure him. Joey Bosa keeps getting hurt.
Right.
So this talent, how long can you run Debo? So you got to pay these guys. They made their bed. They just got to lay in it. And we're going to take a quick break here on Max Sports TV. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the broadcast. Stay tuned. We're going to have the answer to the historical event, and we're going to have a little bit more NFL talk right here on Max Sports TV.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in A-Town.
And we are back here live on Max Sports TV. This is the event with Gentre Williams and Darian Valsh. And Darian, you had the historical event about the last team that won the multiple Super Bowls since the merger.
You're right. Okay, once again, I'll review the question. Today is the, I believe so, it's 2022. So it's the 7-year anniversary of the infamous Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl, where the Seahawks were at the 2-yard line on the verge of winning the game. Russell Wilson throws I think it was to Jermaine Kearse, if I'm not mistaken. And he runs into Malcolm Butler, who makes the game-winning interception, and gets Tom Brady his 4th Super Bowl ring. So, once again, the question was, had the Seahawks won that game, they would have became the first team that began play after the 1970 AFL-NFL merger to win 2 Super Bowls, who have at least more than 1 Super Bowl. So they didn't do it. Another team did. Who is that team?
I'm going to go – I just rethought about it because I could be wrong now. I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens because it's the only new team I know that won 2 Super Bowls But I don't know if that fits because they got bought out.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you bonus points because I didn't think of that. Because in my mind, that's actually a correct answer. So it is 2 teams that has multiple Super Bowls. I didn't even think of that. For the first time, you have stumped me, sir, because I came up with this answer on my own. Like it wasn't like an easy Googleable question. You actually had to do research. But what you just said just knocked me out of the paint.
Well, I could be wrong because
no. You are right because here's the thing. I know most people who know the football for a long time know that the original Cleveland Browns were the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So technically, you are right. Well, I'm not because one of the agreements for when Art Modell, who was the owner of the Cleveland Browns, one of the agreements that he made with the city of Cleveland was that the Browns could keep their history.
Oh, okay.
And he'd restart the history with the Baltimore Ravens as a new team. That way, the Browns can restart their own once they built their new stadium, which was like 2-3 years later. So you are correct. Oh. That is true. But I ask you now, can you name the other one?
All right.
And just because you answered it correctly, I'm going to make it easy for you. Now, this game happened in 2015, 2014 season. So it happened between then and now that other team won it. And it's fairly recently.
Fairly recently? And they're one of the newer teams that won and that's not the Seahawks?
Think about it. They began play after 1970. And they have more than one Super Bowl.
Not the Chiefs. They've been around for a minute.
No, not the Chiefs, no.
The Eagles?
No.
No. They got one. They got one.
One Super Bowl. And they've been around since the 40s or 30s.
Newer team, not the Panthers.
No,
not Jaguars.
You're getting close.
2 Super Bowl wins?
Yes. They began play after the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. Anytime after 1970. Really, bro? You don't have it. The Buccaneers.
Oh, man, I was not thinking. I keep forgetting they won that one with the
02 team.
I forgot all about. They've been so bad.
But you know what? I give you credit because you named the team that did it earlier. Because the Ravens, they won. Because, like I said, the Ravens are considered a brand new team that even though they relocated, it was a team already in place. The records show that the Browns were out of commission for those 2-3 years.
Right.
So you are correct on that. I'll give you bonus points. But the one I was thinking of was the Buccaneers. That's why I asked you the second.
I should have known because you're Tom Brady. Oh, that was. Oh, I like that. I like how you did that.
Hey, you got it half right though. You done gave me an answer I didn't think of. You stumped me. So.
Oh man, that's Darian again with the historical event, man. Always coming with some great questions. Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some more NFL talk. Super Bowl is coming up. We do have the Rams versus the Bengals. Like I said, this is the Bengals' third time being in the Super Bowl. I want to say this is the Rams because they got there with Kurt Warner.
You talking about the Rams?
Third.
It depends. Are you talking about the L.A. Rams or St. Louis Rams?
Yeah, see, that's – you know what I mean?
Because it's the L.A. Rams, they went to one Super Bowl in the I think it was the 79 season. It was the final season that the Steelers went to Super Bowl. They lost the Steelers.
Right.
So 79, and then that's the only Super Bowl they ever went to. Now, they have, like, NFL championships, but, that's pre-Super Bowl. That's prehistoric. Yeah. But that was the only Super Bowl they went to in L.A. Obviously, the St. Louis, they went to 99, they won against the Titans, and then 01, they lost that was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. So this is a Tom Brady episode. But,
Tom Brady getting all the love.
Right. So I don't know how they. I'm assuming that just because the team moved, it's still the same franchise. So this will be their
fourth. Yeah,
we'll go with 4.
And then this will be the Rams' 4th Super Bowl appearance.
Oh, 5th.
You're right.
Yeah,
5th because with Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't count that one though.
See how that just.
Which was also against Tom Brady. Man, they can't get out of Tom Brady.
Hey, Tom Brady, he got his stamp all over the NFL, man.
All over the show. Number one. So.
And I seen 2 different franchises do it 2 completely different ways. The Rams, they got aggressive, man. They gave up first-round picks. They went and got Matt Stafford. They went out and got Odell Beckham, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. They really built this team from picking out from other teams. Yeah. They got the nice $5 billion stadium, all that. Right. Then you got the Bengals. No scouting department. No indoor practice facility. They had to build through the draft.
This is important inside from having some intel inside the team that these factoids.
They're gonna be practicing Wednesday in snow. LA, they're gonna be a nice LA weather indoors. The Bengals, they out there practicing building some calluses. Yeah. But these are just two totally different teams that have been built, getting ready to collide for the Super Bowl. Does this show to NFL franchise there's more than one way to build your team? You don't have to, always build through the draft. You don't always have to go crazy in free agency. You could do it whichever way fits best, and you can still get to the ultimate goal.
Well, I agree there. Yeah, we talked about the Rams and their aggressive ways of kind of collecting stars. But, I mean, a lot of their, good players. Their best players probably, was drafted, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So you can look at it that way as well. And you talk about the Bengals. Now, here's the thing about the Bengals. Granted, their superstars were drafted. But, the crazy thing is it's not ideal because they've done it so quickly.
Yeah.
Jamar is still, Joe's still in his first full season. And then Jamar's a rookie.
Yeah.
So and then T. Higgins, all those still.
That's gonna be a lot of expectations.
Very young. Yeah, and the turnaround just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
But keep in mind also,
Zach Taylor has done a good job in the draft.
Yeah, sure. You got to give him kudos for that. But keep in mind though, the Bengals got some guys that they picked up. Now, granted, they weren't big time free agents, but
Trey Hendrickson,
big pick. Yeah, great pickup from the Saints. Also, another pickup from the Saints, Von Bell. They got that last turnover.
Physical,
man. Yeah, guy they got in free agency. So I mean, it's a litany of things, man.
Right, DJ Reader. That was
DJ Reader. Yes. It's no necessarily like exact science that you have to do it.
Right.
Sometimes it's about being good. Sometimes it's about finding the correct mix of players.
Right.
But sometimes there's a little bit of luck in there too.
Yeah.
You got to be lucky. So it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, it's always more than one way. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about the NFL Super Bowl coming up. We're not gonna do our picks yet. I want to say that.
We got 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. Are you a fan of the Pro Bowl? Do they still do the Pro Bowl a week before the Super Bowl anymore?
The what?
The Pro Bowl.
What's that? I mean, I like. Here's the thing about the Pro Bowl.
I used to watch the little events, but I don't.
But you know what? Like, it's almost gone the same way the the NBA All-Star games. Like, really, it's more so a popularity contest anyway. And two, you watch the game. The players don't. And you kind of understand it because you've already went through a 16-game grueling season. Well, 17 game now.
Yeah,
you went through a grueling season, so you don't feel like going out there for an exhibition and running full speed and knocking the hell out of each other. You just kind of want to be out there and relax. So, I mean, it's the same thing with the NBA. It's like, anybody going to play defense for the first 3.5 quarters. So, I mean, I glance at it, but I don't really care to watch it because, it's just, it's an exhibition game. And there's nothing on the line, and there's no incentive for the players to really play hard anyway. Well, not that there should be.
Right.
I said personally, they just have the skill challenge events.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and just name the All-Pro teams and the Pro Bowl teams, something like that, as like a fan vote. But in terms of the Pro Bowl game itself, that's just it's usually not really good football because nobody's going to really try, and I can't really knock them for not trying because there's no incentive to. So
that's true. And another thing I want to get to with Tom Brady retiring, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to have some dark days ahead of them, unless Aaron Rodgers, he kind of wants out. Russell Wilson wants out. I feel like Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay is the equivalent of LeBron going to Miami. It kind of opened a lot of players' eyes up. Like, you know what? Let me see if I can make that move, get more talent around me. Do you see Tampa Bay being very aggressive and trying to get another? You're not gonna get another Brady, but getting another pretty good quarterback. Maybe try to get to Kirk Cousins because Kyle Trask ain't gonna cut it.
Well, I mean, if I'm the Bucs, I'm looking around the rest of the NFC South, and I don't really see much reason to have much of a hurry. I mean, granted, the Saints have a great defense, but we still got our issues. We don't have a coach. We still got to get a quarterback situation pat. But if I'm the Buccaneers, I mean, you still have some of your great talented linebackers. Some of the great players on your defense are still coming back. You also don't want to put yourself in a financial bind after more free agents because the Tom Brady thing was once in a generation.
He took a lot less money too.
Exactly. So that was a perfect storm
of
a circumstance. So you're not going to get that all the time. But I don't know what the Buccaneers will do. I mean, they're going to have to go with something. They're going to have to go somewhere. You never know. They might actually address it in the draft. make a big-time trade.
Matt Corral could be there.
Exactly. So it remains to see there. But if I'm the Bucks right now, it's not like I'm in an arms race because the rest of the NFC South is pretty much on
Matt Ryan right now is the best quarterback in that division.
That tells you much. What does that tell you?
Man.
Not a damn thing. They could take their time. Now, granted, I could be wrong, and they could just trade for Russell Wilson tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll probably be ready to jump out that window, you said. But I don't see it too much. I think that they're probably going to take their time. They already won the Super Bowl. They've got some good pieces, and maybe they're going to think about reloading for 2023.
Definitely reloading. And then on the AFC side, Patrick Mahomes, he was very uncharacteristic in the AFC Championship. He kind of had a slump, if you want to say, of the season. Patrick Mahomes, he still put up great numbers. He, still one of the top 5 quarterbacks this year. But I think this offseason, Mahomes, he's got to get back to the basics. Watching that game, there was too many times he just held the ball way too long. I'm rooting for the Bengals, but at the same time, like, man, he ain't nobody open. He ain't trying to throw it away. He's not checking down. He's always trying to make the spectacular highlight play. And I got him in trouble at Texas Tech a lot, and it got him in trouble here in the AFC Championship. Does this kind of change the way – because at first everybody was saying, oh, it's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else.
Right.
Does this kind of change the way – you view Patrick Mahomes with, compared to the rest of the NFL quarterbacks?
I mean, no, because you look at Patrick Mahomes in his career, and we talked about Joe Burrow.
Right.
But, I mean, Patrick, let's not take away from him. He's had a meteoric rise in a really short amount of time. This is only his 4th year, 4th or 5th year, and he's accomplished so much. So he's still, believe it or not, a guy in his early stages of his career in terms of his development. So when you bring up the point about, he's got to get back to the basics. I think he acknowledged that after his MVP season when he said he still had to learn some of the –
He's still learning how to read defense.
Exactly. He still was learning. Everybody's like, oh, my God. And I'm like, well, I kind of see that because when you came from a spread system, shoot 'em up, run and shoot type of deal at Texas Tech, it's going to be a little bit different when you have to deal with more structure in the NFL. So I wasn't surprised by that, and I'm sure he still has a ways to go. He's made some progress, but he's still going to have to continue learning and continue growing. So I'm not worried about it because at the end of the day, he still has tremendous talent. He still is probably – I'm not going to say head and shoulders over everybody else, but you still look at him as that 1 or 1A type guy in the league right now in terms of – as a face of the league. So I'm not the least bit concerned about Patrick Mahomes. He had a bad game.
Right. Just happened on a –
It happens. It happens sometimes. It's happened to some of the greats, even at home. So at the end of the day, they had early struggles. They got it. They were able to galvanize the team. They got the win streak going and ended up with home field advantage. I'm not worried about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not a team to worry – you're worried about them if you're playing them. But if you're a Chiefs fan or if you're a Chiefs player or supporter or anything like that, you got nothing to worry about because I think you got a great quarterback who has a tremendous talent. He still has some maturing to do. So we're going to see that with him.
And I'm actually just with all the young quarterbacks in the NFL. If Darian, if you had the number 1 pick, you're the New Orleans Saints, you had the number 1 pick, and every quarterback in the league is available.
Right.
Every single one.
Sure.
Who are you taking?
Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh. Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Not even.
Let me say this, because I didn't get a chance to say this last week. Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's a real deal.
Yeah.
I was somewhat skeptical on him coming into the season, but just watching him, the way he perfected him, the way he played, that game against the Chiefs in the divisional, that could have been for anybody. That was anybody's game. It literally came down to that coin toss.
Yeah.
But he earned my respect. I'm totally sold on him. I had some questions about him because he had some of the things you were talking about with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I thought he had him at a larger scale. But he definitely has the talent. The talent is there, and I'm sold on Josh Allen. So no disrespect to him.
Right.
So I will definitely keep him up there. But if you're asking me right now, number 1 pick, no, it's Mahomes. I mean, it's even with the issues, even with some of the the bad habits.
Right.
Those are our concern, obviously. But the talent is too tremendous.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Joe Burrow in New Orleans.
I would go with, and I love Joe.
Right.
I would say Joe. Joe's up there, but am I saying he's better than Patrick?
No.
Not quite. I think Joe has the intangibles.
Right.
That I say this. Ask me another 5-6 years from now. I'm probably gonna go with Joe.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna be biased. I love me some Joe. I said that. He's been my guy since he was at LSU.
Right.
The greatest college quarterback season ever. I don't care what anybody says.
I totally
don't care if there's any debate. Nothing. You can't touch that. But Joe's right there, but I would still go Mahomes. Yes.
Still go Mahomes. That says like I would go with Joe.
You go with Joe.
Seeing them playing on the same field. Don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes all-time great. When he catch fire, he's like Steph. Once he has it hot, he can have it rolling.
Right.
But to me, Joe just feel like it don't matter if we're down 20, up 20. He's gonna make the right play every single time. If the right play is taking a sack, he's gonna take a sack.
Right.
If a right play is throwing it in the dirt and not allowing your running back to take a loss on the screenplay, I'd have seen him have the wherewithal to do that. And sometimes with Patrick Mahomes, I just feel like he can win you the game, or sometimes he could get you in trouble. Josh Allen is a very close third to me after Patrick Mahomes in that.
Right.
Because I feel like him and Patrick Mahomes had the same talent level as quarterback. I don't think there's no disparity. Like you said, with watching Josh Allen, he can throw it just as far as Mahomes.
The arm is there, and not just the arm, but the mobility.
Physical.
I mean, big dude, and deceptive in speed. I mean, he looks like a Peyton Manning type, stand in the pocket type of guy, but he kind of more closer to Andrew Luck, where he can sling it.
Good comparison.
Exactly. That's exactly what he reminds me of, because he can run over you.
I was gonna say Vince Young and Ben Roethlisberger had a baby.
Had a baby?
Like, is Vince Young and Ben Roethlisberger come back?
Don't make what an awful image you made. No, it's not got nothing to do with. I mean, just Ben Roethlisberger. His history. I don't want to get there. But once again, these opinions are my own. Don't reflect Max Sports TV or any of its affiliates.
And man, you had a interview on because what was it? We're gonna segue a little bit. Past couple weeks, Max Sports TV, we've been doing a track meet over at University of Houston, and you had some interviews with some of the great track coaches.
No, don't overdo it, man. I had one interview.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I made that plural.
Yeah. I wasn't that active. But, I had Coach Joe DeLoach. And once again, I'd like to thank the University of Houston for being absolutely a gracious host here for us when we were broadcasting the track meets the last several weeks. And I think it was the Coach Joe DeLoach. He was hosting the invitational for the runners for 11 and 12, 13 and 14-year-old girls and boys.
UA.
So we were we got a chance to talk to him for a little bit, and I enjoyed it. Basically talking about how he was giving back, because that's what it was all about. It was about paying it forward, knowing that he was an Olympic gold medalist, coming back to his community and creating somewhere where the next generation could kind of grow and thrive and showcase their skills.
Right.
And it was a nice little interview. So I once again like to thank Coach DeLoach for that, and I appreciate the University of Houston. And it's been a great working relationship, and hope that continues in the future.
Yeah, same. And you've been covering the track and field over at University of Houston. It seemed like when I was there, they was dominating the events. I looked up, just seeing all the banners from 2005 to just last year.
Right.
Do you see them? I know you haven't really had an opportunity to see the rest of the country, but just seeing how dominant they are regionally. Do you see them again hanging up some more banners this year at University of Houston track?
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of high-quality runners. They got great competitors. But that's what you're going to do when you have so much world-class talent, world-class greats who have gone through there and are there now providing mentorship. I mean, it's only going to attract talent. I mean, that's just simple. That's elementary. But, I see University of Houston. They definitely performed great at the previous I believe it was the G5 and Super 22 Invitational. They had a great performance. I think they came out in the men's 4x4. Their team won pretty soundly. So,
wow.
Yeah, the University of Houston is definitely going to continue being a great program in track and field. And not just track and field, but athletic program.
Yeah, they're on the come up, man.
They're definitely further, up in their ante, especially with that move to the Big 12.
That's a big-time move right there.
Exactly. So University of Houston yearly is growing and is going to become that much more greater. And I'm very excited that we're affiliated with them to see this growth.
Yeah, definitely. And then last year, going to the Final Four in the basketball program, and that basketball program is up and coming now. Right. They're consistently ranked in the top 25 week in, week out. Big things on the rise for University of Houston, and also big things on the rise here on Max Sports TV. Again, you can always check me and Darian out every Tuesday here, 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow, we also going to have Bob Slovak do the huddle up, and Jason Alexander with the picks?
Yeah, if they feel like doing it. Unless they don't want to get out of bed, by all means. I'm sure we'll just play a replay of this episode of last week. We'll find something, I'm sure.
We definitely will. And stay tuned here. Be sure to download the Max Sports TV app on your phone, Xbox, PlayStation, wherever. Also, follow us on all of our social media accounts. Follow Darian. He stays tweeting on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
At DVALS, the D and the V are capitalized, DVALS.
Yeah, be sure to follow at Darian on Twitter, man. He keep you live and updated on all NFL news, more than NFL news, NBA news.
Well, no, not me on Twitter. No, I just cuss and just talk about people.
Yeah, let's follow Darian.
I mean, if you're entertained by that type of thing, by all means. But, I don't want to just send people over there and just being, getting offended or anything. Because once again, those are my opinions. Not affiliated with Max Sports TV. That's my thing.
That's right. And we still gonna do a little NBA talk, man. Last night, Steph Curry, he had a great night. Coming back to Houston, 40 points, scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Looked like he done found his rhythm and found his shot. I called you and talked to you early, and you was like, funny against another lottery team.
I mean, I'm not. Let me dial back because I did have a little bit of vitriol in that call, and I don't want to seem like I was just absolutely just down at Steph. But, I mean, Steph Curry, we know how great of a player he is.
Yeah.
The awards, the achievements, everything speaks for itself. The greatest shooter of all time. Now, he's been in a pretty uncharacteristic slump for the past several weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just been 1 or 2 games here. It's been some weeks now.
Yeah.
And, it's just funny just seeing that situation with the Rockets, Kevin Porter Jr., talking and joking.
Oh, man.
And then Steph gets on a hot streak. And then next thing you know, you got headlines like, oh, don't poke the bear and all the Steph's back and don't even,
I just seen Kyrie poke the bear plenty of times.
Exactly. But, I just found it like, okay, so now, I didn't hear anything else about, this slump he was having. You had to actually follow or at least check on, see that everything was going on with his slump because it wasn't making headlines like it was. But now he comes out and shoots it as a hot streak against a team that pretty much most of their core players ain't even barely old enough to drink.
They can't even drink it.
So, yeah, exactly. Well,
they can't even smoke.
Well, how old you got to be to smoke?
21.
21? I thought that was 18. They up to since then?
Yeah, it's 21.
Oh, man. It's crazy times, man. But,
great, yeah.
I'm not knocking him, but I'm just like, okay, well, we'll see. Because if he shoots another 3 for 15, then, I'm going to need them headlines. Basically, I'm just asking people to just have the same energy.
Right.
I think that's pretty simple to have.
I always try to have the same energy. And someone whose energy that's completely changed in the last year or two, I want to get to this because the stories keep coming out more and more, is James Harden. Just a year, he left Houston, I want to say 2 years ago to go to Brooklyn. Their goal is to win an NBA championship. That goal is still in play for Brooklyn if, things go right accordingly for him. But there's a lot of noise about him wanting to be moved. And, he keeps telling Brooklyn he's happy, but this is just my opinion. Coming from Oklahoma City, being a third option, then going to Houston, being the guy for 8 years, and the whole city love you, then going back to Brooklyn and being that third guy again, I think that was a harder transition than he thought.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it was what he wanted.
Right.
That's what he asked for. He wanted that. However everybody wants to feel about the way he went about it to get that.
Yeah.
That's up for debate. I was always saying, look, he's made it clear he don't want to play here. Go ahead and trade him. We don't need this dragging off into the end of the season. And they kind of did.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended up festering into that little situation that we had. But that's what he wanted. I mean, listen, James Harden, I have a lot of respect for him as a player. I do enjoy the way he plays. I know people knock him for the way he plays, but I've always said that I've always been fans of players who don't necessarily dominate being athletic gods.
Right.
Now, not that there's anything wrong with that. Your Giannis's, LeBron's, all that stuff. But I always like the crafty players. That's why Chris Paul is my favorite player of all time because he's always been, aside from when in his younger years when he had, he was speed and had.
He was dunking
dunking on Dwight Howard. But, I've always appreciated the guys who can play crafty. They're great with their minds. Their minds kind of translate onto the court, not necessarily the same way their physical capabilities do. So, I just had to say that part about James Harden. But my thing with him is, I think that first off, the Nets was something that he thought going in was this guaranteed championship. And obviously we've had different circumstances that have kind of, kept it from. And I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to give that up yet.
Right.
I think it's just saying, hey, we got to be more aggressive in terms of getting talent surrounding us. Because
right.
I don't feel like the Nets, amongst just that big three, have what it takes to really, compete.
Kyrie can't play it in your home game, so what's the
right.
point of having home? They might be in a weird situation to where they might.
It is weird. Yeah, I agree.
Like, hey, do we want home court advantage?
Well,
I
don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is a strange situation. I don't understand what they're going to do about it.
Kyrie can't play at your home games, and with him is when you're at your best. Wouldn't you rather have like I don't know how you can do this, 8 seed, because you'd have to do the play-in and all that. Try to go to 6 seed or 7 seed so you are on the road more.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
I could see that, but at the same time, you still would have a James Harden and a Kevin Durant.
Right.
So, I mean, looking at it that way, and let's keep in mind, last season, they went to 7 in overtime with the Bucks with Kevin Durant and half of James Harden, and they damn near won that series. It got very close.
Kevin Durant's shoe size is just too big.
Exactly. If he was about down to a 9, then sure, they'd be NBA champions right now.
Right.
But
maybe.
But no, I'm looking at a James Harden and Kevin Durant. I feel that still having them two can get you there, and then having Kyrie come in for those road games where he could play. That'd be the difference maker there. But I don't know. It's kind of muddled right now because we're hearing different rumors about James Harden making this declaration, making that declaration, or something like that. If I did say he was going to go somewhere else, it would probably be Philadelphia. But I don't think the Nets are going to make that deal. I don't think they're going to send him.
That's right next door.
Yeah, that's right there. I don't.
They go try to send him back west.
Exactly. It'd probably be maybe a Phoenix, or maybe a Lakers. Who knows?
Golden State or.
Oh man, him and Golden State, that'd be so weird.
Yeah,
I don't even want to think about that. But I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I think everything hinges on what they do at the end of this season, whether or not they can make it. Because looking at the East, it's still wide open. I mean, nobody's really separated themselves. Even though Philadelphia,
Joel Embiid,
exactly, he's my MVP.
Yeah,
him and Jokic are right there, 1 and 2. But it's still wide open for the East, so anything can happen there.
Anything can happen in the East, and the NBA is going to be wide open. We're going to do a lot more NBA talk on the up. Excuse me, I was trying to do a timer and times.
Yeah, we got time. we can't do an hour clock in our heads, so we got to use make sure everything. That lets us know the show. That means get the hell on out of here. That's all it means.
That's my time for us to wrap it up. It's been a great show. Thank you guys for joining us here live on Max Sports TV. Gentre Williams, Darian Valsh, and we're signing off. Peace and love, everyone. You guys have a great night.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in A-Town.